call it GenesisMind. It's an agent that starts as a blank slate and goes through a growth process age by age, and actually everything it knows comes from perplexity searches. And its purpose is to answer an ultimate question it has been given. So we will overview the code, take a look at past examples, and actually run it ourselves as well. We can actually start with a few examples in separate terminals, so we can have it running while we actually talk about all this. So I've asked ChatGPT about some fundamental questions which people may have. Let's start with those. So we can answer the question right here. Let's pick, for example, what is consciousness and how does it arise? Let's start with that. And we'll start 3 of them. So we're going to define, so how, the final age defines how much so-called research it will actually perform. We'll talk about this. Let me get this started real quick. So this should be good. And we will use O1 Mini for this, and we'll use GPT-4o for some. So let's get this one going. And let's ask another question. Are we alone in the universe? So these are pretty obscure questions, obviously, which may not have an exact answer, but we are hoping maybe it'll give us some new insights. You can also ask complex questions as well, such as how to build a room temperature superconductor, trying to tap into O1 Mini's reasoning. For this one, let's use GPT-4o, actually. And let's get that going. And it'll all create its folder structures automatically. So we'll take a look at that. Let's create a new terminal and start another one. For example, let's ask, can truth be known? If so, how? It's an interesting one, perhaps. Or are we alone in the universe? Or this one. What is nature of time? Is it real or an illusion? Let's start it with that. Okay. And let's run this. So let's get that going. And also as a test, I would like to show you that how it begins as a blank slate, which I tried to achieve with a system message. Also, we will overview the code and review past examples, but the code files for this will be available at my Patreon at the architect level. I'll actually put the link as a comment on Twitter, and on YouTube, it should be in the description. So I'll just add that real quick, and then we'll begin. Let me create a new terminal so we can actually see how we are getting it to start as a blank slate by looking at the agent begins. When we run this first file, should get into a chat mode, and we can ask it like, what is 2 plus 2? And it answers as, I don't know what 2 plus 2. You help me understand it. We can ask, what is the capital of France? And it responds as, I'm not sure what the capital of France is. So the idea here, as you may see, was to start it with a blank slate. And this is, we are able to get even GPT-4o Mini to respond as such. So this was the idea. So the system message for that was, you're a simulation of a mind which doesn't currently know anything. Act accordingly. Unless you learn something, you start with a blank slate. You can see that the idea for this was that, to limit the model from using its internal knowledge and rather rely on whatever it explores to find by asking questions itself. We get those answers to those questions using perplexity search, but it could have been, any other way, really. That was just a convenient way to implement this. And if you take a look at like some of the previous examples I was doing while testing, you can actually start this agent. You start the agent as age 0, and you give the final age, and you can call these iterations as well, I suppose. And at every iteration, it actually asks questions to itself based on an ultimate question that it was given. So this ultimate question acts as its driving force, essentially. So I wanted this to be open-ended, but also a bit anchored. So this question actually is the anchor, if you want to look at it that way. And if you take a look at, for example, the folder structure is designed to put the question first and the a final age parameter second, and the model. So all these tests were done with GPT-4o. For example, if you look at age 5, we see that we save quite a lot of stuff. For example, we save the questions at each age, accumulated questions. So age 0, we are allowing it to ask 5 questions per age or per iteration, and then we accumulate those questions. So by the time we reach age 5, we have accumulated 25 questions. So it knows the previous questions it asks is to not repeat itself. So to answer this, actually, I've run this several times, and the questions are a bit different each time, and therefore the answers are a bit different. We also save the search results to each of the questions, as you can see, for each age and for each of the questions. And so therefore, this actually affects its growth. If you look at like the age state at 0, it starts to form. The idea was to actually allow it to form beliefs, values, and knowledge. Beliefs are supposed to be what it thinks are certain. Values are more of like guidance, and knowledge is what it thinks it has found out. And we also append the previous questions to its state. So if you go through states, and if you look at the minimap, the state of its beliefs, values, and knowledge grows steadily. So this is from age 0 to 1. This is from age 1 to 2. This is from age 3 to 4. Sorry, 3 to 4 here, and age 5. So it continues to accumulate based on the questions it asks. And at every step, it is actually, it has access to its current beliefs, values, and knowledge. I actually had a chat with ChatGPT to decide which I should include. So I was originally going to include likes and dislikes, but I thought values maybe is more proper. So in essence, you can modify the script and make it as detailed as you like. So this is just a quick example of how it works, and it's actually performing those steps right here, and we'll be able to view them. We can actually take a look. Are we alone in the universe, for example, has been completed at age 10. These are its accumulated beliefs: existence of the universe, cosmological theory, dark matter, search for the extraterrestrial life, so on and so forth. Values are pursuit of knowledge, scientific inquiry, open-mindedness, knowledge. It's quite extensive, which are all formed by asking and answering these questions right here. As we can see, there's 50 of them. And it writes its final answer in as both as a JSON and HTML final answer. Based on my beliefs, values, and knowledge, I cannot definitely know if we're alone in the universe. However, given the vastness of the universe, presence of billions of stars, ongoing search, it seems statistically improbable that Earth is the only place to harbor life. Our understanding of life in potential forms is continually evolving. So it is instructed to answer as directly as possible without any wish-washiness or vagueness, but if it just cannot answer, I suppose it just can't. You can try to improve the system message. We can actually run this again, asking the same question: Are we alone in the universe? But we can maybe allow it to go to age 20 and try O1 Mini with it. Let's run this again. If you run the same experiment again, it'll actually enumerate it as well. But we should get a new, see, H20 and O1 Mini here. So we'll get a different answer. We also get an answer for what is the nature of time? Is it real or an illusion? Where is it? Oh, here, right here. It was down here. So we can take a look at its growth. As you can see, this was done with GPT-4o as well. Its state has grown significantly. I've actually seen it. I've run this one for 51, which we'll take a look for until age 50, and it was able to produce 12,000 tokens of beliefs, values, and knowledge. And we can actually grab this real quick and see how many tokens it's made out of. Let's go here real quick to OpenAI tokenizer just to get a rough idea. So it produced 2,000 tokens worth of its own state, I should say. And the final answer it is given to this was that the nature of time can be perceived as both real and illusion, depending on the perspective. From a scientific standpoint, time is real and measurable through clocks and calendars, which are constructs based on natural phenomena. However, the subjective experience of time, influenced by biological, psychological, cultural, and environmental factors, suggests that time can also feel like an illusion. The relativity of time, as proposed by scientific theories alongside diverse cultural and philosophical views, indicate that time is not a singular entity, but rather a multifaceted concept. Advances in technology such as virtual reality, artificial intelligence further challenge traditional perceptions by demonstrating how immersive environments alter temporal experiences. Hence, time as a whole can be seen as an intricate blend of both reality and illusion, shaped by various influences. Okay, my another. So I'll be working more on this, and like I said, you can download the source code from my Patreon if you're interested as well. Is to actually get it to a chatbot as well. This is actually great to actually create a personality, I suppose, maybe even we can in essence grab this beliefs. For example, we can grab this the latest state of the agent, not the pre questions, and we can actually input it into ChatGPT, for example, and ask it to as please act as though you embody these set of beliefs, values, and knowledge. Please acknowledge at first. So we could do something like this, right? We can do it uh, on complexity idea. Okay. So then we can have a chat with it, right? That was my idea. It would be done better than this, but what is time? Let's ask it. So we should of course instruct it to only take into account the beliefs, knowledge, uh, and uh, and the knowledge. So let's take a look at this longest one that I ran. So this can get quite expensive at O1. We are actually printing the reasoning tokens at each age when we are using O1 Mini. So just remember that everything the script handles everything automatically. So this was an interesting one. As you can see, if you look at age 0 state, it's pretty sparse. But by the time we go to age 12, it has already formed quite a lot of interesting and intricate, you know, relationships and say biological characteristics, life and non-life. This is to answer the question, what is the meaning of life? So it goes into quite an interesting set of places by asking these questions, like role of mindfulness, meaning, subjectivity, intrinsic value of life. And by the time we reach the state at age 50, it's really extensive. As you can see, it is 363 lines. And if you copy all of this and put it in the tokenizer, you see that it's over 12,000 tokens. So there's really no theoretic limit to how much of these that it can accumulate, except for the output limit of the model. GPT-4o's output limit is 16,000 tokens, and O1 Mini is actually quite large, 64,000, including the reasoning tokens. So let's extend this so we can see what's going on here. Essentially, let's start talking, overviewing the code as well a little bit. Oh, but let's take a look at the final answer it is given for the, for the what is the meaning of life, my longest running. It says the meaning of life, from my perspective, is a dynamic interplay between self-determination, personal growth, and emotional fulfillment, cultural interaction, and the pursuit of intrinsic purpose. Through the experience of meaningful relationships, creative expression, and cultural engagement, life becomes a rich tapestry of evolving goals and values. By embracing joy, resilience, and wonder integrated with cultural and technological contexts, I find that life's purpose is to foster connections, appreciate diverse perspectives, and contribute positively to both personal and communal well-being. The journey of life gains its depth and fulfillment through continuous learning, adaptation, and reflection, guided by empathy and gratitude and a balance of tradition with innovation. In essence, life's meaning is a personal narrative uniquely shaped by our interactions with the world and intrinsic connections we foster with ourselves and others. So, as you can see, I mean, this would be very interesting to have a chat with an agent which actually has this particular set of beliefs, values, and knowledge. So it would be a good, nice anchoring. This, I'm saying, this can serve as a nice anchoring of different sets of agents, which I'd like to expand upon later. So, generally speaking, this script works off of three different agents. Uh, they're all stateless in the sense that they don't keep track of a message history. So this agent, as it's evolving through, for example, the GenesisMind agent, which is going through these ages, doesn't keep track of any of the previous responses via its message history. It only keeps track of its current state. So there's another agent which actually updates the state to make it neutral. So it doesn't. So one agent only has access to the state, and another agent has only access to ability to update the state. And there is also an agent that actually generates the questions, which has access to the state. And then there's the perplexity agent, where I mean, that's not an agent necessarily. We just run the questions through it in parallel and async. So we have some helper functions, like to get a unique sanitized file names and folder names, etc. And the learning agent is it is going to have a set of dictionaries for beliefs, values, and knowledge. And its system messages you are however many years old, and you only know what is your current state. So this is the generate questions method of the learning agent. Generate however many questions that we specified at the top to learn more about the world, only with the purpose of answering the following question. We pass in the question and we pass in its current state, and generate new and unique questions that haven't been asked before, because we are passing the previous questions. Return questions as a JSON array of strings, for example. Questions should be designed to produce knowledge that is relevant to answering the ultimate question. Okay, so this is one big part of it. The second part is supposed to get the final answer, but we'll come back to this. So we have the Mindscape architect, which is responsible for actually constructing the state, the mind state of the agent. So as a Mindscape architect, your task is to construct and update the agent's beliefs, values, and knowledge based on new information and existing structures. And then we pass in the current mindscape, and we pass in the new information, and we ask it to analyze the new information in context of the existing mindscape, update existing beliefs, values, and knowledge with new insights, form new beliefs, values, and knowledge based on new information, ensure consistency, and resolve any contradictions in the updated mindscape, and returns it as JSON. As a matter of fact, now if you go back to are we alone in the universe question that we ran for until age 20, which it is still ongoing, I believe, you can take a look at the growth. We are currently at age state 10, and we are running this with O1 mini. So if you compare the age 9 state to age 10 state, we see that even from age 9 to age 10, these two beliefs have been altered with this particular slip, and these exomoons have been added. So this must have been new information. The habitable zone has been altered. magnetic fields, geological process, life has been altered. So quite a lot of it has been altered, and some new ones have been added. See, great filter have been added. Great filter is a hypothesis to explain the Fermi paradox. Rare Earth hypothesis has been added. And as we scroll down, we see that exomoons habitability, AI in SETI, and Earth life history insights and interstellar communication methods have been added to the knowledge base. And it's still ongoing currently, I believe. Yeah, it's on age 11. And we can see the reasoning tokens taken by O1. And this is ongoing as well, which was the what is consciousness. So let's take a look at that. It is at age 9, which is supposed to end next year or next turn. Then we can compare age 8 to age 9 state. This is run by O1 Mini as well. Let's compare selected. So in this case, see, a lot of the stuff remains the same. So that can happen, except we've added quite a new beliefs over here. Values remain largely the same, except for what role dreams and sleep play. So this has been modified, it seems. And how does the sense of self emerge has been modified slightly. And quite a lot of stuff has been added, I believe. Well, not that many, I suppose. Yeah, and we can see the new questions here as well. What role does cerebellum play in conscious experience? So this was it. This was my attempt at. Actually, this was inspired by a talk given by Yosha Bach that I saw on YouTube about how he was saying consciousness can only be a simulation or something like that. And I was listening to it while going to sleep, then it came to mind that, well, what if we create an agent that actually begins as best as we can, begins as a uh, empty blank slate, and then only has access to the knowledge that it has formulated, and what type of conclusions that might it reach was the general idea. Yeah. So continuing to take a look at the code. Um, so this was the Mindscape artist. So obviously everything here is heavily dependent on the system messages and the general logic flow. And here, if the OpenAI model doesn't start with GPT, we are printing the reasoning tokens. And the search agent, this is the perplexity agent, is instructed to perform rigorous research and provide detailed answers pretty much. And we perform this in parallel for each of the search queries. And the main, this is like the beginning point of the agents. So we can take a look at it. These both are pretty much the same, but if we are dealing with a GPT model, we use this. And if you're using O1 series models, then we use this because the reason is because O1 cannot accept system message, so I had to do a little thing like this. So essentially, the instruction. Oh, thank you, Gregory. I appreciate it. The instruction is you're a simulation of a mind which starts with a blank slate, which doesn't know anything. So you'll see that this is actually a bit different than the original agent begins system message because this was working fine with GPT-4o, but when I ran O1 Mini, actually it was so essentially O1 Mini was sticking to its original instructions so much so that it was ignoring all the new beliefs, values, and knowledge that it had generated. Because if you read the original system message, it says simulation of a mind which doesn't currently know anything act accordingly. So it was taking this to heart, even though the message right after that or the content is filled with or brimming with beliefs and knowledge. The O1 Mini was still saying, well, I can't answer that question because it was going by that. So as you can see, OpenAI did mention that these new models are very sensitive to the system messages or the general instructions. I think that's very true. Remember that. And so therefore, there's infinite many different ways to do this really. And I don't pretend to say that this is the best way to achieve it. But you can experiment with it. I hope this is valuable in giving you some interesting inspiration. So essentially, we're saying your simulation of a mind which starts with a blank slate, which doesn't know anything. So I changed it from currently to starts with a blank slate. Act accordingly. As you age, you will be learning. Well, there should be a dot here. Your mind will be updated with new beliefs, values, and knowledge. When you're at the final age, you will be asked to answer the ultimate question. At that time, you will use all your beliefs, values, and knowledge to answer the question as instructed at that time. This is it. And then the rest of the contents are added under it, which we'll go and review right now. So the rest of it is just some uh, logistical stuff, really. But we are looking for the final answer generator. Oh, right here. So as we go through the ages, we'll come back to this real quick. You can also get intermediate answers. So if you were running this for a long time, and O1 Mini can get expensive. For example, if you were to run, because it outputs so much tokens, that's why it happens. Um, essentially, you can get intermediate answers. So say final answer every n age is default set to final age, but if I were to set this to 5, then by the time we're on our way to age 20, we will be getting three other answers at age 5, at age 10, and age 15. And the same method will trigger final answer. And it says you are now at the final age of whatever age is specified only based on your beliefs, values, and knowledge. Answer the question, which is the ultimate question. Your current state, we passed it in. Knowledge should include everything you've learned for the purpose of answering the question. Oh, this actually is in the wrong spot. I'll fix that. This is supposed to go uh, to the state generator, Mindscape architect. Here we go. Let's add it here. Which is knowledge should include everything you've learned for the purpose of answering the ultimate question. These should be relevant to answering the ultimate question. Okay. Let's go back to the final. Sorry to jump around. Yeah. So if we pass in its current state and we ask for a provide a direct, personal, and non-vague answer based only on all your beliefs, values, and knowledge. Your answer should not be a general summary, but a specific and meaningful response that reflects your unique perspective for the posterity. Provide your answer, yeah. Yeah, so this is about it. So it was just an idea I got while watching that talk by Yosha Bach, and I was surprised how effectively it works, actually. We actually got our answer to what is consciousness. We can go ahead and check it. So, by the way, quite a lot of useful information is generated while the script is running, such as the questions that were generated for a particular topic, the answers that were generated for each one. So, this is quite valuable in its own right. They're all saved nicely and neatly. Look at the growth, age 10, quite a lot of stuff has been generated. This is the state at age 1. This is the state at age 10. And the final answer was, it's quite long actually. Consciousness to me is the intricate tapestry woven by our brain's remarkable complexity and its harmonious interplay with our environment and experiences. It emerges from the synchronized activity of countless neurons communicating through electrical and chemical signals. This is an answer by O1 Mini, by the way. Forming specialized networks that govern everything from our basic bodily functions and so on. At its core, consciousness arises from the brain's ability to integrate diverse sensory inputs and internal states, creating a unified and continuous experience of the world and ourselves. This integration is facilitated by key brain regions such as the default mode network and the thalamocortical projections, which work together to support self-referential thinking, memory retrieval, and a seamless flow of attention across various stimuli. Our conscious experience profoundly shaped. Okay, continuing. Moreover, consciousness is not a static phenomenon, but a dynamic process. Attention plays a pivotal role in shaping our conscious experience. Okay. In essence, consciousness arises from the convergence of our brain structural and functional advancements, our emotion and cognitive processes. So this is the answer you get. I mean, uh, what would happen if you run it 50 times? You know, that would be, maybe I'll make another live stream. So I just wanted to do this as a sort of like an introduction. This was exciting for me. I hope it's useful for you. We'll wait for this to finish. Which question was that? Are we alone in the universe? So I did run this. Before we take a look at that, I did run this. What is the meaning of life? A bunch of different times, like until age 5, 10, 15, 30, and 50. And the answers, first of all, not only change each time, but also changes qualitatively across, if you run it longer, obviously, because it ends up learning more about the world. So let's compare the final answer from age 5 to age 50, for example. We can select both here and compare. So this on the, let's see, on the left is 5 years, and then on the right is 50. So the 5 years of age, it gave this answer. The meaning of life to me is about connecting with others, having fun with my friends and family, and finding joy in simple things. Like, I mean, it's uh, it's almost like an answer that a younger person might give. I don't know. Like playing outside or drawing pictures, I think it's really special to help others and be a part of community. That makes me feel even more important. Sometimes when I feel sad or things don't go well, I remember the happy times. That makes me smile. I don't know if this is influenced by the age criteria, as a matter of fact, as well. I believe that when we do things we love, like playing games, exploring nature, or making up stories, we can understand ourselves better. What mattered to us is like a treasure hunt for happiness. So, meaning of life is about love, happiness, being kind to ourselves. And we have gone through this one, right? It's quite thoughtful. Meaning of life, from my perspective, is a dynamic interplay, self-determined. This part, especially, journey of fulfillment through continuous learning, adaptation, reflection, guided by empathy, gratitude. It's a personal narrative. Yeah, very interesting. But let's take a look at, for example, let's compare age 30 to age 50. So on the left is age 30. At age 30, it said the meaning of life lies in the intricate interplay between personal growth, cultural connections, and a shared responsibility towards a sustainable future. It involves dynamic pursuit of purpose through the balance of self interest and altruism, enriched by the diversity of cultural narratives and the empathy fostered through community and relationships. Life finds its meaning in a harmonization of tradition and modernity. Influenced by spiritual and ethical frameworks, it thrives on creativity and self expression, realizing fulfillment through contributions to the well being of others and engagement with global challenges. Ultimately, life's meaning is a synthesis of evolving personal values, legacy building, and fostering resilience in the face of adversity, all while embracing the transformative potential of human connection and environmental consciousness. So I personally find the age 50 answer quite a more comprehensive and more robust, I suppose. So this is this is the maximum that I've run it to age 50 with GPT-4o. So I haven't run it longer than that. I would like to. Maybe I'll do a live stream and maybe try to get a web app like this going, so anybody who was interested can try it with their own API keys. So this is it in a nutshell. We'll now take a look at the final one. Are we alone in the universe? Again, to summarize, this was supposed to be an agent that begins as a blank mind, which accumulates knowledge as it grows through years and ages, and it has a set of beliefs, values, and knowledge which gets updated and eventually reaches quite complex proportions. And then its ultimate goal is to answer a single question that is given. Its entire process is driven by the ultimate goal of the question that it was given, whatever the question may be. It can be technical questions as well. So it's really open ended in that sense. And the information gathered along the way is, I feel, very useful. For example, this state at any given age can actually form a basis for a AI agent, right? That's the way I thought of it. And now looking at the "Are we alone in the universe?" question, we come here and let's just compare age state 15 to 19 real quick, see what has changed. So sometimes the state doesn't change much, or I should say update much, but rather keeps adding. So, but it doesn't always work out like that. Yeah, sometimes it updates, sometimes it uh, keeps adding, depending on the situation. So at age 19, it has formed quite a lot of beliefs like universal scale, chemical composition, life on rogue planets, Fermi paradox, technosignatures. So this is all in light of trying to understand if we are alone in the universe, non-water-based solvents life, magnetic field strength stability, planetary atmospheric thickness, and we are at the final age, so we should get an answer shortly, after which time we'll end the stream. Like I said, you can download the source code from my Patreon. It's available for my Architect Plus patrons. And we got the final answer. Before taking a look at it, I'd like to say that if you enjoy this, you can find more of my videos at my website, echohive.live. And these are my YouTube videos. You can watch all of them for free. And if you're a patron, you can find the source code for each and every one of them. Let's take a look. Yeah, let's take a look at the final answer. Considering the immense scale of the universe, the adaptability of life to extreme environments, and the numerous potentially habitable planets, I believe it's plausible that we're not alone in the universe. So, see, it gave a more affirming answer. While we have not yet found definitive evidence of extraterrestrial life, combination of scientific exploration, open-mindedness, and resilience of life increases the likelihood that life exists elsewhere, possibly in forms and places we have yet to discover. So, this is a different answer than GPT-4o gave at age 10, which was pretty much, I cannot definitely know. So this is the goes to show that the additional questioning and the answers that it receives and the state that it forms definitely has an impact on the type of answers it gives. As I said, if you do download the code or build something like this yourselves, remember that the system message goes a long way. I'm not saying this that what we reviewed is the best system message, but I try to show you overall what how it works. Oh, another factor that will influence is the perplexity model. You do have to use an online model, right? Which performs web search and curates the results. But so there's the Llama 3.5 sonar, small, large, and huge. They correlate with 8 billion, 70 billion, and the 405 billion variant of the Llama 3.1 series. I decided to use the large because it does cost extra through Perplexity APIs and plus speed. Um, so using the huge one might influence, not might, but I'm pretty positive that it will influence the results. Another crucial thing is number of questions at each age. If we take a look at the questions, it asks 5 questions at a time. So you can have an arbitrarily large number of questions as long as you don't go over your perplexity rate limit. So this is it in a nutshell. The rest of the functions are pretty much just auxiliary functions, like it's trying to extract JSON and things like that. Yeah, and the main function is pretty much just initializing it. It doesn't take in user input. We just save everything at the right times and things like that. Create the dictionaries, JSON, save it. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll try to improve on it and I'll try to experiment with it more myself, and hopefully we'll this won't be the last we hear from GenesisMind. Let me know if you like the name. Maybe it's dorky, but anyway, thank you for watching, everybody. Take care.